everybody! Another live stream. Hoo boy, we're cooking with gas. We have a lot of really good, interesting stories to discuss today. Thank you for joining me. It's so nice to see everybody. Those of you who are members and can comment, and those of you who are just tuning in, that's awesome too. I'm glad to discuss these things with you. So the way this is going to work is that we're going to do the first 3 stories, and then afterwards you can ask me anything you like for 10 minutes. And then, hopefully, please remind me, I will do some shout-outs at the very end of the stream. All right, so let's get started. The Warner Brothers Discovery upfronts, I could only squeeze one story out of it, this Mindy Kaling first look. It was not a great presentation. We'll talk about that a little bit in the Mindy Kaling Velma section. All right, everybody. All right, story number 1. Hold on. Boop. All right, Stan Lee. At this point, iconic. So he passed away, of course, tragically in 2018. There was quite a fight over his estate, and as you might recall, in his final years, there were some very serious accusations of elder abuse. So, not a great ending to poor Stan Lee's story. So Marvel Studios today closed a deal for 20 years. They bought the rights to Stan Lee, his person, for 20 years. And they bought it from Genius Brands and POW Entertainment, which of course this was his company. You might recall he used to make a lot of videos for them and stuff like that. He tried to get some comics off the ground. It never really quite worked out. But that was his company. And part of me wonders who's running that company. Like, I think people are like, oh, it's okay if the money is going to his family, but you're like, who in his family? Because his family was abusing him, some members. So you're like, I don't know if you would want the money to go to that individual. I don't even know if he would want the money to go to his family because it was so bad in the end. But I do feel that it's better. Mika, I'm not sure who's running POW Entertainment. He has very few family members, I believe, left. Hey, the original hum. If you join during a live stream, I'll give you a shout out as soon as you join. But, hey, Brandon Parks. But Stan Lee doesn't really have any, I think, family left except for his daughter, who, of course, was really horrible to him. So I wouldn't want the money for his likeness to go to her, and I don't think Stan Lee would either. But I would say that I think it's better for Marvel to have the rights than for POW to sell his rights to someone else. That would be a disaster. So it's good for them to lock that down. Oh, that's very sweet of you, the original hum. So, all right, what did they get his likeness for? Hey, Seven Mata. So they got his likeness for, I'm going to read over all the categories and then we'll go over them individually. So what Marvel gets in this 20-year deal is the right to use him in feature films and TV appearances, Disney theme parks, various experiences, and merchandise. All right, so we'll start off with using him in feature films and TV appearances. The trade's coverage said that the MCU isn't sure if they're going to create a digital Stan Lee, but they could if they wanted to. You might recall that I reported that they were going to have T'Challa come back digitally for Black Panther 2. And a lot of you were very upset about that, and there was a lot of discussion about it on the Twitters, and that's why they're using Killmonger instead in that scene, because people reacted so poorly to it. People are reacting pretty poorly today to the idea of animating Stan Lee posthumously. So hopefully they don't do that. So I think there are other ways they can put him in there. Lloyd, I had the same thought. I would not want a Stan Lee animatronic. I think that would be a disaster. So I have some thoughts on how to use Stan Lee in a moment. But first, let's go over the categories. All right. Also, Disney theme parks. I'm not sure about this. Right now, they have a nice plaque to him in Avengers Campus. Maybe they could do a statue. That would be nice. If they want to put statues of Stan Lee in Avengers campuses across the world, I don't think anybody would feel bad about that. I think that would actually be quite nice. I don't know what various experiences are. I guess we'll find out about that. But as for merch, I kind of like merch. I think Stan Lee merch is a good idea, as long as it's done tastefully. But I think t-shirts, maybe a little statue that you can buy, like a pen, or they're saying it's like stationery. he was a writer, right? So like Stan Lee stationery, I think would be pretty clever. That's right. I mean, Paul Brunel, I don't know if this gives him the right to his catchphrases as well. That's an interesting question. But yeah, I could, Excelsior shirts. Ivan says he has a Stan Lee Funko. Trisha says, I like that a lot. Yeah, to me the merch, hey, CJ, happy birthday. It's Chad's birthday. I'm glad I did Chad said, please do the live stream early today so that I can join on my birthday. And I'm glad it worked out. You're lucky, Chad. The Warner Brothers upfront was a complete bust. So I was able to do a much earlier stream today. So anyway, it's my pleasure, Chad. You're fantastic. You're OG when it comes to the BTT community. I hope you and Marvel, your dog, well, perfect. Chad's dog's name is Marvel. It's a beautiful dog. I hope you guys have a great day. So anyway, yeah, I think the merch is pretty good. What do you guys think? Would you buy Stan Lee merchandise? I would definitely maybe buy Stan Lee merchandise, to be honest with you. Like, for sure. As long as, again, it was done tastefully. Trisha, yeah, this is Marvel Studios. Yeah, I think, a lot of us are like, oh, Luca would not. It would probably, Denzel, a pin is a great idea. I'm not into pins, but Disney fans are really into pins. They sell a lot of pins over there. So yeah, I think they could have some really nice stuff. Now, I think if you were going to do a moving digital Stan Lee, like bringing him back to life, I think people would not like that. I definitely don't think they should do that. But I think having still pictures of him, images, I think they should use him the way they use Walt Disney in Disney. They could have old recordings, old footage. That stuff's okay. It's very clearly old footage. You make it very clear that you're remembering instead of reanimating. I think that would be fine. Hiring an actor to do an approximation of Stan Lee's voice and having him say new things, I think that would be a giant no-no. So now that's the thing. I think that, this is also where it gets tricky. Because I think there has been some annoyance over all the focus going to Stan Lee when it comes to Marvel creativity. And this means it's going to happen forever. I think people were like, hey, maybe now we can focus on some of the other creators who created these iconic characters. And they're like, no, we're just going to keep focusing on Stan Lee. I think they want to turn him into Marvel's Walt Disney, because that's something the Disney company understands. They understand how to keep Walt alive. I think they're like, let's do the same thing with Stan Lee. I feel like both men were good leaders, and I think there's a story about Stan Lee that I've repeated to you before that I think really puts everything into perspective, and that he pounded the pavement in Hollywood for decades trying to get Hollywood to make Marvel movies. And they didn't even think that anything was worth it, but he just kept going to meeting after meeting trying to convince them. And finally he did, and the rest is history. But he did that. No one else did that. Stan Lee was the one who made this happen. So that's important. He does deserve credit for that. So that's good. But just like Walt Disney, both men were fortunate to have very creative people working for them who created a lot of the art that they get the credit for. Now, for Disney, there was not a lot of competition back then. So those people, where are they going to go? But today, I would think that both Disney and Marvel would want to make sure that their creators are happy. Because they could, of course, go to another studio. Like Rich Moore left Disney and really left Zootopia in a bad place, unfortunately, when he left. So I think, good leaders should want their talent to feel appreciated. And I think, Ed Brubaker, for instance, had a cameo in Winter Soldier. And you might be like, well, nobody knows who Ed Brubaker is for the most part. Everyone pretty much now can spot Stan Lee. And it's like, but they would know who Ed Brubaker was if you gave him a better cameo and you made a bigger deal about it. That, I think, is like, the cameos could do some good. Everybody would be like, who's that the character talked to? And then us comic book fans would go, well, that's the individual who created the character. Isn't that swell? And then everyone would go, oh, that's great. I think that in terms of cameos, I like the idea that people have put forward that it should be Deadpool, who's the one who shows up in every Marvel movie. I think that would be hilarious. I think it's the perfect, and it transitions it from a real person to a character. Although Deadpool is so synonymous with Ryan Reynolds at this point, you would have to get an A-list actor to be doing these cameos. That could get very expensive. That's the whole reason they never really did anything with Enchanted, because they would have to pay Amy Adams for her likeness. That's why she never became a Disney princess in the parks and merchandise, etc. So that's difficult. So I don't even know if that's realistic to have Deadpool be the cameo, because again, it's so closely associated with Ryan Reynolds. But I think Ryan Reynolds would maybe work out like a bulk deal. And I think it would be worth the money to have Deadpool show up in every property. I really do. That's right, Jerome. Deadpool could just wave. He doesn't have to say anything. And then that begs the question, who really owns Deadpool at this point? I don't know how invested legally Ryan Reynolds is in the character. But I don't know. I think that Deadpool would be a good cameo person. Although, Juan, you don't like that idea? Who here likes the idea of Deadpool as the cameo in every Marvel project, and who doesn't like it? Chad says, I want to know who the money for his appearance goes to. That matters. I agree. I would love it if it went to some kind of charity or for something to benefit the comic book industry or community. Joe, I like that you wouldn't be opposed to it, I guess. That's funny. Not everyone loves it. It's not the slam dunk that I would have thought it would be. So that's interesting. To me, it seems perfect. To me, it seems just absolutely perfect. I'm with Courtney. I love it. All right, so that's the first story of the day. We'll see how this develops. I think that today fans made it very clear that they do not want the MCU to digitally reanimate Stan Lee. So I think that, to me, merch and statues are the way to go. That's, to me, the best, handling just like Walt Disney. They have a lot of cool Walt merch. I've bought some Walt merch, too. So I think that's a really nice idea. Michael, that's a good point. The Stan Lee cameos were sweet, whereas Deadpool would be sarcastic. The Stan Lee ones were always very comedic, though. I think they could find a way to do it. But let's see. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they even have to have cameos necessarily. I mean, they haven't had any Stan Lee cameos since Endgame, and I don't think we're all like, man, the cameos, we really miss them. Like, I think the Marvel property, it's not what it used to be because there's no cameos. So they could just not do cameos, quite frankly. All right, so that's the first story of the day. Hold on. Second story of the day. Boop. All right, so Disney is getting ready to launch an ad version of their subscription service, streaming service. Now, on their latest investor call about a week or so ago, which they didn't really have any news for, anything that most people would be interested in. But they did have some good news for investors, and that's that they're up to 138 million subscribers worldwide. They gained 7.9 million in the first quarter for 2022, beating the expectations of 5.2 million new subscribers. So that's over 2 million more than was anticipated by Wall Street. So that's impressive. And that's, of course, at the same time that Netflix is losing subs. It's like Jerome says, they're beating Netflix to the punch. Are people leaving Netflix to go to Disney Plus? I think Netflix needs to have things that are more like the Disney Plus event television streaming shows than Netflix has. That's why I think Stranger Things is so important to them. But also, Disney also mentioned that they lost $1 billion in revenue in licensing their content to other places because now it all airs on Disney Plus. So they want to get as much money out of Disney Plus as possible, and that's by increasing subscribership and now selling ads on it. And they can do both with an ad-supported service because it's cheaper. Although Disney Plus is still incredibly cheap. Although with an ad-supported service, as Lloyd Lester just pointed out, the price will likely go up on the ad-free version, and they'll probably maybe start the cheaper version at what it is right now. That could be potentially what they do. And, I gotta tell you, the ad version doesn't sound that bad. So some details leaked during upfronts this week where advertisers were talking to Disney. That's what upfronts are. Upfronts are not an industry presentation. They're not selling fans. They're selling advertisers. They're trying to get advertisers to buy ad space on their networks and streaming services. So Disney really wants people to buy a spot on Disney Plus. They're like, wouldn't you like to advertise on Disney Plus? So here's their incentives. And it's not going to be easy to get an ad on Disney Plus. There's going to be limited space. The word is that they're going to run 4 minutes of ads per hour of content. For comparison, Hulu runs 9 to 12 minutes of commercials during an hour of streaming content. And I got to tell you, you really feel it on Hulu. I had a Hulu ad service for like a couple hours one time. I tried to watch one episode and I was like, I can't do it. Not only because I didn't have the ad breaks, but as Denzel just pointed out, Hulu just runs the same ad at every break. It's like water torture. You're like, I can't take it. So yeah, Hulu with ads, I feel, is untenable. But some people do have Hulu with ads. Like Lloyd says, I stopped watching Hulu because of ads. But Disney Plus is just going to have 4 minutes. That's less than half of the conservative estimate of Hulu's amount of commercial time. So I think that's excellent. Then they're not going to run any ads on preschool content, and they won't run any ads when a child profile is activated. You know how you have different profiles and you can set some for children. They don't want to push ads on small children. YouTube, by the way, ran into the same hiccup, and they don't run ads on content made for children either. So that's going to hurt a little bit, I think, because they feel no one with buying power is watching this. Hey, David Glover. So I think that's the incentive. And as Trisha has been spamming, yes, they do also have some other things that they won't accept. They won't accept adult ads, anything that's aimed at adults. They won't accept alcohol, ads for alcohol products, I'm sure tobacco as well. And they won't have political ads either. They won't allow political ads. And that's interesting because I think they would have had very aggressive political ads on a Disney service. That's interesting to me. But I think, hey, Matthew Dennison, I think that Disney wants people to have a great Disney-esque experience when they're watching their service. And I think those kind of things would, I think you're going to see a lot of like home products. And I think you're going to also see, by the way, hey, Marvel Mania, I think you're going to see a lot of Disney ads, to be honest with you. Like a lot of Disney ads. I think they're going to advertise their own content, quite frankly. At least part of it will be Disney ads. But yeah, you're going to see, toys. But here's where it gets interesting. They will not advertise any rival studio or streaming service either. So they're not going to show any advertisements, I would imagine, for their products either. So they're not going to have any DC toys. They're not going to do anything like that. Yeah, that's right, Michael. Lots of family snack products. I mean, it's going to be very, very Disney-type ads. And I agree, Chico, they'll be probably advertising a lot of the Disney parks as well. Courtney says, is that not normal? I think ads aren't usually that tailored. McDonald's all over the place, Smart Girl. That's a perfect Disney partner. Yeah. Lots of trailers for upcoming Disney movies and TV, all that stuff. ABC, yeah, I think for sure. But I think that Disney has to be really careful with their branding. So it'll be interesting. There's also word that some streaming services, they might do something else because they want to limit ads. So it's saying that they might take over, I think Peacock is considering this, they might take over the page on the streaming service. Like they might say like, this show is presented to you. They might, like for instance, they'll be like, Moon Knight is presented to you by McDonald's. And you'll be on the Moon Knight homepage and it'll have like a little McDonald's logo. And then maybe Moon Knight will be like, Steven will be like, I like chicken nuggets. And Mark will be like, I like quarter pounders. It'd be hilarious. So like that kind of a thing. You know how like on television they have this thing now that pops up at the bottom where they like have like a little ad come up on the bottom, like a little thing pops up and then goes away like after a few seconds. I think they're gonna maybe do stuff like that. If they actually, I don't know, that's crazy. But yeah, so I'm glad you guys like my ad. But yeah, I think it's kind of funny. I think as long as it's done well and it's done clever. Like, for instance, they pay a ton of money on American Idol to have them all drink out of Coke glasses with Coke really clearly written on the side. That's right, Jose. Dancing with the Stars will be an ad bonanza. And they can have them drink out of cups if they don't already. So that's the kind of stuff. Yeah, I want chicken nuggets too, Vasily. I really made myself want chicken nuggets. See, advertising works. So it's hilarious. They'll be like, you can't watch Moon Knight without your McDonald's. And you'll be like, damn it, I can't. I can't look at the screen because it makes me want the food. So I think, I mean, there are certain, I think, advertising partners that are going to be like lined up being like, we're excited. We're very, very excited about this. That's right, Jose. Where's my stipend for McDonald's for advertising chicken? I really do advertise chicken nuggets a lot on these live streams. Zeester, you just ordered McDonald's? That's great. I miss McDonald's so much. I've had it like, I think every couple of months at this point. It's so delicious. All right, so we'll see what happens, but I like it. I think, thanks, Jan. Yeah, I think that, to me, it seems fine. It seems like they're actually doing this pretty well. How many of you will do the ad version? I'm not willing to do the ad version because, to me, streaming is I don't know. It depends how expensive this stuff gets. If they start cracking down on password sharing, then maybe I'll do the ads, especially if it's like this. I really don't like having my show interrupted, though. I really don't like having a streaming show interrupted. Courtney says, depends on the price. Patrick says, I'm churning, baby. No ads for me. Denzel, I don't think it'll ever be that cheap. That's true, Jico. They could even put links if they wanted to, because streaming services are digital. Oh, this is getting crazy. It's getting very Jetson-y. I mean, let's see what, if anyone can make you want to watch ads, I got to be honest with you, it's Disney. You'll be like, oh, these ads are actually fun and cozy, and I enjoy them. I actually have some friends who still watch like network television and see commercials, and they're like, I saw this commercial the other day, and I was like, how did that happen? And they're like, I was watching a network show, and I left it on in the background so the ads ran, and I'm like, I don't even know what to say to that. And then I felt kind of bad that I was missing the ad because they were like, it was a good ad, and I was like, oh, so I don't know. I feel like I have a mix of these things. I have no problem with ads at the beginning of content and stuff like that. I think you have to be careful. So I think, it's up to you to decide what you want to do. So, we'll see. All right. So that's the second story of the day. Now, the third story of the day. Hold on. Boom, baby. Where'd it go? Where's my other image? There we go. Okay. All right. So, at the Warner Brothers Discovery Upfront, there were very few headlines, if any. Now, of course, they are a new company. In fact, during the presentation, David Zaslav, who opened, just like Bob Chapek did Disney's yesterday, everyone was like, this is the first time like a CEO has shown up at the Upfronts. And then David Zaslav was like, damn it, my thunder was stolen by Chapek. But they both showed up, which is nice. And David Zaslav said, it was just a year ago that we said we were even going to buy this thing. So it was only recently confirmed. So I think that David Zaslav has said that Warner Brothers is going to be very conservative and they're not going to try and outspend the competition. I think he's going to learn very quickly that he needs a little more razzle-dazzle. I think, he still has his training wheels on. He's coming from Discovery, which is a very different type of company. And by the way, I don't know about you, but I was not prepared for the flood of Discovery stuff in the new Warner Brothers discussion. I was like, what's all this reality television in here? Like, that was pretty crazy. So I think it's going to get some getting used to. I think it's going to get some getting used to for them to be on this kind of stage. And I think it's going to take some getting used to for us to having them on the stage. So, but anyway, they really did not come to play. They had like nothing that would make a lot of headlines. And they had Peacemaker season 2, but they had no footage or an image to share. You're like, you don't have any, you got to show us stuff. And I'm very disappointed they didn't even have like a Harley Quinn season 3 trailer, because that, they're in the end game of that. They should have something to show at this point. So it's like, where's that? But adult animation has done very well for HBO Max. They have the Kite Man spinoff coming. The fact that Harley Quinn has the spinoff is very exciting. So that's good. And so I guess Harley Quinn is working for them. And they've greenlit a lot of other adult content, adult animation as well. I don't know how well it's done because I don't see anybody really talking about it. But they're doubling down. And now they have this Velma show from Mindy Kaling, which is a Scooby-Doo spinoff. Now, the thing that Mindy Kaling addressed, I'm very excited for Harley Quinn season 3 as well, Marvel Mania. It's going to be great. Yeah, Anna, they could have had a renewal for Our Flag Means Death announced. They could have had a renewal for Raised by Wolves. Hey, Cameron Rain. There were some things that they could have said that I think would have gotten a lot of attention, and they didn't. So that was a little frustrating. But they did show this first look image. And Mindy Kaling, that's her there, obviously. She was focused a lot on the controversy apparently from some people who were upset about race-bending Velma to be South Asian. You know, there's now a contingent out there that's going to be upset about anything. I mean, the people who are upset about She-Hulk is like insane. They're like, I'm like, She-Hulk is such an iconic character that's been around for so long. It's like, how could anyone be like, what's this? It's like, it's ridiculous at this point. And I think that there are some people who are doing it just to do it because there's an audience that is attracted to that, unfortunately. So it's just, I think, becoming like just, you know, ridiculous. So that's just, I think, hopefully fading into the background. I think it works, again, if you have the right casting. And to me, Mindy Kaling, let's be honest, she's a total Velma. I mean, if they were doing a live action Scooby-Doo, I think she'd be a good candidate for Velma. Just like Jeffrey Wright is a fantastic Jim Gordon, and I think Leslie Grace looks like a very promising Barbara Gordon. Now, to be fair, I think that original characters of color tend to do better with fans than race-bended versions of the character, unless nobody knows who the character is. Like, everyone loves Jason Momoa as Aquaman. They took that character and turned him from a joke into a really cool character. He's worked out fantastic. I feel they should have switched Aquaman in the comics and in the animation to reflect Jason Momoa. But then they probably don't want to have to feel that they have to pay Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa will be like, hey, that looks like me. Give me my money. So that worked. And also Deadshot with Will Smith. No one really knew who Deadshot was, so they don't care. And Will Smith was very charismatic in the role. So that's fine. But I think she works very well as Velma. Mindy Kaling is producing this show and voicing Velma. And that looks like Velma to me. I mean, you look at that and they're like, this is the new Velma show. And you're like, oh yeah, there's Velma right there. I mean, I think it looks great. Oh yeah, Nick Fury as Samuel L. Jackson. He's fantastic. I think that also was helped by the fact that was right out of the comics. Mark Miller had Nick Fury drawn to look like Samuel L. Jackson. So that was fantastic. My problem with this show is the adultness and how they've chosen to sell it here. I don't love the fact that they've decided to sell it with nudity, female nudity in particular. I'm like, really? That to me seems very lowbrow. I'm like, that's the level of this show. I'm not a huge fan of that. Also, I wonder if that's Daphne. I don't really want to see Daphne or any like these really famous characters, you know, exploited like that. So I don't love that. I mean, honestly, I'm like, is that Velma fully clothed and Daphne naked next to her? I don't know how I feel about that. Also, Harley Quinn is a very adult show, but the inappropriateness or the sexuality and the language is like secondary to the quality of the show. I've never felt that Harley Quinn was sold as an adult show and that's why you should watch it. I felt that Harley Quinn was just a really good show that didn't have the limitations of being age-gated. That's what works for me about Harley Quinn. I think Harley Quinn's really well done. And I think it makes the characters very relatable because, of course, adults aren't censored in real life. And it allows, especially a character like Harley Quinn and Ivy, to be very realistic to who they are. So, I mean, as villains. Well, they're anti-heroes at this point. So, but I thought it was good. So, is that Daphne? I mean, it must be Daphne. I mean, it looks like Daphne. I don't know. It bothers. I mean, I just don't like selling the show that way. Also, I got to tell you, I really feel that this should be the whole Scooby gang. I don't understand why Velma needs her own show. I think, why can't Mindy Kaling's Velma be on the whole gang? Why can't we do, I think, an adult Scooby-Doo? Because Scooby-Doo is so dated and age-gated at this point, and I think Scooby-Doo's kind of run its course. I think they've done as much as they can with it at this point. I think that you could reinvigorate Scooby-Doo by allowing it to be whatever it wanted to be, right? I mean, I don't need to see Scooby like humping anyone's leg. I mean, you have to really be careful. But yeah, I just feel like that's the thing. I guess that's where I would draw the line. Can the Scooby gang say whatever they want and have actual murder mysteries? You're like, oh yeah, that's cool. Can Scooby-Doo hump someone's leg? And you're like, no, that's not why we do adult content. So I don't know. That's how I feel. But so will I check out Velma? For sure. I will definitely watch Velma. Will you guys watch Velma? I mean, I like animation. I like Scooby-Doo. I like Mindy Kaling. And I like, mysteries. Oh, Keith doesn't like the idea of adult Scooby. Oh, look, a lot of you were not going to watch it. Oh, interesting. Some of you will adamantly not watch it. Let's see what the trailer looks like. Thanks, Ivan. Yeah, I'll probably review it. Marvel Mania, I agree. I don't see hit here. I don't see a show that will trend. I just don't think Mindy Kaling is a Twitter-friendly comedian. Unless the show had honestly, if the show had Mindy Kaling in it, but there was the whole Scooby Gang, I think it could trend. But I think just a Velma-centric show is going to have an uphill battle. I don't know why they would just have Velma have her own show. It doesn't make any sense to me. It should be the Scooby Gang or Mystery Machine, right? Have an adult show Mystery Machine. That would be cool. All right, so those are the 3 stories of the day. It is 2:33. You can ask me anything you'd like until 2:43. I don't necessarily have to answer you, but I might. Tyler is a huge Scooby fan and hates this idea. Keith says, will Secret Wars really happen? 1,000%. They are moving towards Secret Wars very quickly, and Kang is supposed to be the new Thanos. He's supposed to be the big bad of these new phases. But I don't think they're working very hard to make that clear, to be honest with you. Owlwatch says, what 4 multiverse characters would you put on a DC multiverse, not including the already confirmed? Are you talking about the new video game? I would like to see Michelle Pfeiffer return as Catwoman. She's so good on the new First Lady show on Showtime. I'm like, she's still got it. I mean, if Michael Keaton can come back, why can't Michelle Pfeiffer? Ivan Sarmiento says, would the CGI backlash of She-Hulk affect the show? I would hope not, to be honest with you. But I think it's not looking good. I think we're on the cusp of a Sonic situation here. I don't know why everyone's being such a stickler about these VFX. Someone was like, Grace, you didn't like the VFX in Doctor Strange. How dare you say the effects in She-Hulk are okay? Well, I'll tell you why it's a difference. First of all, the VFX in Doctor Strange are not anything new for Marvel. They've done that a ton of times. They should have no problem executing the VFX like that at this point. So that's why I called out their VFX. Also, I have to tell you, bad VFX in Doctor Strange 2 were not what kept me from enjoying the film. And I didn't hate the movie, I just was disappointed in it. And so I feel like if it had checked more boxes for me as a fan, I would have been, and as a Wanda fan, I think that I would have been more forgiving to the visual effects. Now, as for She-Hulk, I think it's very hard to animate a female monster who's especially supposed to be sexy and humanoid. It's very difficult to do. I mean, they're doing a tiny 11 in Stranger Things, and I gotta tell you, they're not having a lot better luck with that either. I think that, but even there, they're right on the cusp. They're so close that you're like, you know what? I get what you're trying to do. That is an impressive advance in VFX, so let's just go with it. And I have the same feeling about She-Hulk. I mean, some people are like, I just can't get past the VFX. And I'm like, why? It looks just like Tatiana Maslany. Except she's big and green. That's what she is. Trisha, I haven't heard anything about Yelena for Secret Invasion, but what I have heard is that it's going to be like everybody. So that's going to be the No Way Home. It's unfortunate that Multiverse of Madness, they've confirmed that they had these things planned. I think they got a little further than they're saying, from what I heard, but further along in the process. But they decided to cut it out. Is the Stranger Things 4 finale 2 hours? I can tell you right now that the Stranger Things 4 episodes are all about an hour and 15 minutes. It's wonderful. I've watched 6 episodes now at this point. I have screeners for 1 through 6. Vasily says, Grace, how do I defend Wanda Maximoff from people at my film school? Oh, that's horrible. You should say she's incredibly popular. And the fact that you're being a hater just proves how much of a threat she is. GP, I don't know about Reva being the main character of the Kenobi show. I have not seen any episodes of that, and I don't believe they're releasing them in advance, which makes our watch-along all the more fun, because we'll be watching it together for the first time on Friday the 27th at 3 a.m., 2-hour live watch-along. Oh my God, it's going to be great. Mika says, what are your thoughts about John Watts leaving Fantastic Four for a Star Wars show? That Star Wars show sounds pretty bad to me. It sounds to me like Stranger Things Star Wars. And after seeing the teenage gang in that Robert Rodriguez came up with for Boba Fett, I don't really know if I'm interested in that. However, I'm welcome to them changing my mind, and I'd have to see it. But, while I watch the new Stranger Things, one of the things that helps the show is that it has really great adult characters as well. And I think that would have to be the case with this Star Wars show. John Watts should do whatever's best for him. Is it better to direct the Fantastic Four movie than the Star Wars show? I would say it is. But he's made his choice. I Am Jacob says, do you think DC will be completely rebooted with new leadership? It should. Someone should have the guts to just say, this is a mess. Let's just start fresh. But Hollywood is so risk averse that they will look at the success of the first Wonder Woman and let's see how Aquaman 2 does. But as long as there's even a shred of success there, they're going to be like, oh, maybe we should keep this. I wish that they would just start from the Batman, as I've said many times at this point. Let's see here. Jerome Wanless says, what do you think of Will Smith's continued silence? I think that Will Smith made a huge mistake, and I'm sure he realizes that, but I do sympathize with Will Smith. I think we're a little too quick to villainize people in society, especially these days. I don't think he handled it very well either. My thought is whether or not he's going to divorce Jada Pinkett Smith. I've heard rumors of that. Let's see what happens. I personally think that would be his best course of action. But, let's just see what he decides to do. But I think that, it's going to be hard for him to get over that. Oh, Keith, I'm so glad you liked the audio message that I sent you. Yeah, when you get some BTT merch, I send you an audio message. You get it within 2 weeks or so. Barbie Minaj says, thoughts on the Vanity Fair Star Wars cover. Oh, I felt bad. I thought Ahsoka didn't look her best. I was like, I've seen Rosario Dawson look way cooler than that. But overall, I'm excited. I think Disney Plus has done wonders for Star Wars. I'm excited for all of this content. I think the problem with that article was that it didn't have any new information in it. And it was weird that it came out a week before Star Wars Celebration. You're like, why are you having this article come out now and all these pictures when it should come out right before Star Wars Celebration? That's going to be the big announcements. That's on a week from tomorrow. Star Wars Celebration is the big Lucasfilm panel at 2 p.m., and that's where we should get some really good information. I don't know what possessed them to have Star Wars Celebration on Memorial Day weekend, but they did. Mika says, what about your thoughts of Kathleen Kennedy and Alden Ehrenreich? I don't think Alden Ehrenreich deserved to have his career ruined by Solo. I thought he was pretty good in the movie, particularly towards the end of it. I thought he really became Han Solo, which was the point of the whole movie because it's an origin story. So I feel bad for what happened to him. Although I would say that you cannot recast iconic characters. I think that people will point to James Bond and Superman and Batman, but the point is that whenever they recast those characters, they would start the story over. You can't do that with Star Wars. You can't do that with Marvel, so you can't recast these characters. Marvel has fixed this problem by having variants. They're like, oh yeah, this is not the character you know and love and saw in all these other projects, but this is the character from another multiverse, universe that looks different. And so it's a different actor. sometimes it's a different actor, sometimes it isn't. I was very happy that Loki was the most watched Marvel Disney Plus show. I think it deserves it. I love Loki. I think that's a great show. But Star Wars is just stuck. These characters are going to have to, pass away. Although it's better for the actor. That's pretty sweet for the actor. You cannot replace them. Trish, I haven't heard any updates about the Secret Invasion release date. Epic Echo says, I disagree. Fans should love the story more than the casting. I don't agree. I mean, I totally understand where you're coming from, but I think that it's just too jarring. I think if you want people to be invested in these stories, the level that they are, with Marvel and Star Wars, you have to take the good with the bad. Mickery says, Grace, what are your thoughts on a rumored live-action Captain Carter show? I have not heard this rumor. I have not heard any word on this myself from any of my sources, but I did see the rumor. I think it's a very bad idea after having seen in Multiverse of Madness. I thought that they were not able to capture, I think that she would have to be like She-Hulk, and you saw how everybody's reacting to She-Hulk. I mean, I think they would need that level of visual effects to blow up Haley Atwell. She was too small, and the action scenes weren't compelling in Multiverse of Madness. Hey, Damani Level. So, I just don't think, I think that it didn't work. And so I would love an animated series. That would be great. They got to be careful. They got to be, I think I don't know. I think at some point they might have too much content. I mean, they clearly haven't reached it yet. Are they remaking Imitation of Life, Erwin? I love Imitation of Life. I've seen both versions. It's an incredible story. Are they going to do it from the perspective of the other side of the dynamic? That would be really fascinating. I mean, they'd have to have I think Zendaya, that's a wonderful project for her. That's incredible. I'll have to look into that because I am such a big fan of that movie. Again, both versions. All right, so it's 2:44. I went a little over even, so let me do some shout-outs. Just tell me what you're up to so that I can say hi. Mike Drop says, thank you for not talking about spoilers and leaks and cameos. I was totally surprised at seeing Krasinski. That's great. Yeah, I'm trying really hard not to spoil cameos and surprises. I think it makes a difference. I even had to tell my source not to tell me some Stranger Things spoilers because I was like, no, I want to discover it while I'm watching the screeners. Trisha's eating pizza and Coke. Oh, that's fantastic. It's your birthday too, Michael? Oh, happy birthday. You and CJ have the same birthday. That's wonderful. Chico's going to binge some Stranger Things to get ready for the new show. Paul Porkchop is at work eating spicy seaweed on my new keto diet. Good for you. You're going to be all ready for summer. Caesar is getting ready for a writing marathon. Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. Darth Vader says, I'm in California, just finished an online game. Excellent. Alex says, I surprised my boyfriend with some merch. He loved it. Oh, I think I got your boyfriend's photo in the t-shirt. Is that your boyfriend? If not, I'd love a photo. DM me a picture. Vasily says, I'm up at 4 a.m. in Australia for the stream, about to head to bed. Thanks for staying up, Vasily. That's great. Marvel Mania's birthday was yesterday and is enjoying leftover birthday cake. Birthday cake's the best. Juan's about to watch The Staircase on HBO Max. I hope you like it. I think it's medium, but I am still watching it. Tabitha, hey Tabitha, always nice to see you. Says, taking a break from doing some cleaning. Oh, Alex, I'm glad you're going to send me a photo. Barbie Minaj says, on break at work in Ohio, getting ready to catch up on Stranger Things for next week. That's awesome, Barbie. I always like your profile pic. Caesar says, in Kuwait, reading a new book I found called The Winter King. Oh, that sounds good. Let's see here. Courtney Eloise has started watching Succession. I'm intrigued. That's such a good show. Bye, Jerome. Bye. David says, I'm in the office watching your live stream. I hope they don't catch me. Shh. Yes, I love it. Okay, that's very good. Carlos Munoz is eating a blueberry bagel. I like that. Brandon Park says, yay, I'm so glad I could finally subscribe. I'm such a big fan. Love you and huge shout out from South Africa. Oh, Brandon, I'm so glad you could join too, and you got to use the emoji there. Welcome to the party. It's so nice to see us to have you here. Let's see here. Oh, Heather, are you sick? Bye, Michael. Jonathan Pals has just passed my driving test. Now, oh, congratulations. Now watching the Americans in Vancouver. Oh, that's awesome. All right. Hey, Parker. Oh, Parker, you just joined. Do you want to say anything to me before I log off? That's a great profile pic, Parker. Yes, Keith, I'd love updates. Look, news writer just got a gold badge. Pretty sweet. Happy to have signed up for a year. That's awesome. Happy anniversary to us. Oh, Heather, you had a kidney transplant. Oh, I'm so glad that you're okay. Lloyd Lester's last day at work at the Angelica Film Center and starting a new job for National Geographic on Monday. Oh, that's so exciting. Thank you, fellow Grace. I just want to see if Parker wants to say anything before I log off. Oh, Patrick, I'm so glad you enjoyed today's stream. Parker, I gotta go in a minute, so I'll give you like a count of 10 to write something. 10, 9, I hate to put you on the spot. 8, 7, 6. Oh, yay! Oh, Parker, great to be here. It's great to have you here, Parker. Awesome. Oh, by the way, I think we should have one more stream this week, one more live stream. But don't forget, if you're a BTT Movie Club member, on Sunday at 5:30, we're doing a private viewing party for Revenge of the Sith to get ready for Obi-Wan. It's going to be a good time. So if anyone who didn't watch it on Star Wars Day earlier this month, I hope you'll consider joining. Okay, everybody. See you soon. Bye. Bye, everybody.